I am delighted to welcome Anna Douglas today to the podcast. Anna is a brand designer, a creative community builder, a former fashion freelancer, which is a surprisingly tongue-twistery thing to say, an inspirational woman who decides what she wants to do and then goes and makes it happen. And most importantly, she is a dear friend of mine. So welcome, Anna. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be on this podcast.
So, the next section of the podcast is what I like to call you can blow your own mind. So, I think often, in society, we have set milestones. Like if people are rich, if they look a certain way, then we define this as successful. But what I'm wanting to do is help to redefine this notion of success by thinking about how we have gone beyond our own perceived limitations, how we have been brave and stepped outside of our comfort zone, almost regardless of what's happened as an outcome. So this notion of like blowing your own mind. So
Yeah.
what's one area where you think that you have kind of blown your own mind in terms of what you've been able to create or accomplish?
So I hold Crave dinners, and you've been a guest speaker at one of them, which was amazing. Um, but yeah, the kind of reason for them was to create this community where like creative women could come together, support each other, feel safe to like discuss topics and things like that. They are really fun, and I try and hold them every couple of like months, which means I host them, which if anyone would know me, that they know that I hate doing public speaking. I absolutely hate it. Like in school, I would feel sick before any presentation or anything like that. But I have to talk at each one of them to a room full of women. So yeah, I remember before the first dinner, I was so nervous. Like I was feeling so sick, like I didn't sleep the night before. And I was like, should I cancel this? Like I can't actually
Oh.
do this. And I was like, why have I created these? I was like, all these things are going through my head. But I didn't. And I spoke in front of a room of like, I think there was 18 women or something. And I was
Wow.
probably shaking so much and probably bright red, but I did it. And yeah, now I speak at dinners and I get a little bit nervous, but I'm much better than I was. So I keep looking back and I'm like, wow, like I actually did that.
Yeah. That's so cool. And the thing that's, well, there's two things that are obviously cool about it. The first is that you created it in the first place. So
Mm.
even having like the desire and dream to do something like that when you actually don't want to do it, it's like you've created your own obstacle course of hell.
Yeah. But I think the reason why I created them was because I knew I needed to network, but I
Hmm.
didn't the thought of networking scared me. Like going into a room and like doing like 1 minute pitches really, really scared me. So I was like, I'm just going to create my own and avoid going to others.
I mean, that is a brilliant idea. That's like both are going to be hard. So pick the hard, pick the one that is going to give you more fun and
Yeah.
yeah, more challenge.
Mm.
Um, that's amazing. So, and I have been to a creative dinner as well, and I have spoken and attended, and I can definitely say they are such a lovely place for people to talk, sometimes about work, sometimes about other stuff and just to have that connection that feels really friendly. And
Mm.
you're right, like sometimes when you go to networking, it's a bit like you feel like you're on like speed dating or whatever, don't
Yeah.
you? And
Yeah.
whereas this feels much more relaxed, and obviously you have a great dinner as well because you pick some fabulous restaurants.
Yeah. I'm so glad.
So I'm curious now about kind of the workings behind. So one of the things that my clients often struggle with is avoidance and procrastination. So I want to know, how long did it take you to come up with the idea and then to actually kind of execute it and put it out into the world?
It didn't actually take me that long, which I'm quite surprised about as well. So I think in my head I've been wanting to do something for a while, but I didn't know what. And then every kind of creative event that I went to had to be in Manchester or somewhere like that. Like there wasn't anything in Lancaster, or there might have been something in Preston, but there definitely wasn't anything in Lancaster that I could really go to. And I went to something similar in Manchester, I think in the November, and I came back and I was like, I really want to host something like this in Lancaster. So people in, because I didn't know many designers or creatives or business owners in Lancaster either. So I was like, I want to build that connection with all of these women. So yeah, after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna host my own. And I think it took about a month to plan it and then a month to sell the tickets. So yeah, it was November, and then I did my first dinner in January. So
That's
yeah.
so quick. And there was Christmas in the middle as
I
well.
know.
I said in the intro, you decide what you want and then you just go for it. And I really admire that about you. Okay, wow. And then how did you sell the tickets? Because you said you didn't know many creatives then. So how did you go about marketing and selling?
It was a lot on Instagram, but a lot of it was that I found people on Instagram in Lancaster who might want to come, and I messaged them directly. Like it was a lot of inviting people directly for the first few dinners. And then the last two dinners, I haven't actually had to advertise on Instagram or social media at all. Like it's been people who have either come to past dinners or people who have like recommended it to other people. So that's really, really nice to like think about, because I don't have to post on social media, which is good. And also that people actually like it and enjoy it. So yeah.
Yeah, they keep coming back, myself included.
Yeah.
And I guess it does feel more like that community then as
Mm.
well, doesn't it? As well
Yeah.
as networking.
Mhm.
Um, so you mentioned about obviously having this fear of public speaking, and you were thinking the night before, like, oh my gosh, am I going to cancel? What, I'm really nervous about it. How did you overcome that? Because it's one thing to have all those thoughts and then to actually go ahead with it. So what specific things did you do, or things did you tell yourself to help you overcome that?
So I think the biggest reason I didn't cancel was because I was like, I'm going to lose loads of money if I do cancel. Like, I'm going to have to pay the restaurant for like 20 dinners, and then, yeah.
That's a good reason. That's good stakes. Like set the stakes so high you have to pay such a penalty.
But yeah, I just told myself I just needed to do it. I was like, I need to push myself out of my comfort zone and like do something that I'm uncomfortable with. And I kept telling myself the more I do it, the more better I'll feel about it, which is true. Like for me, I always need to do something like that a few times to get really comfortable with it. But after the event, I hired a presentation coach who was all right. He was fine. He cancelled a few sessions. So I feel like to go further and do more public speaking, because that's what I do want to do. Like I want to push myself out of my comfort zone, because even now, like at the dinners, I'm very comfortable there. Like I know the majority of people who go, I know what I'm going to say. I know like the environment. But if I was to present in front of like a room full of people, I'd still feel like as nervous as I did at the first dinner. So I feel like for me, I need to learn how to do it better. And then that would change my mindset of being like, okay, actually, I'm good at this. I think a part of me thinks that I'm just not good at it as well. So I think learning more about it, like maybe hiring a public speaking coach and stuff like that.
And I guess it's difficult as well because if you don't feel like you're good at it, you won't put yourself in situations that, seek out to then get that
Mm.
feedback, to then feel better and have that practice. And yeah, so it must be hard. So it's amazing that you took that first leap and just pushed
Mm.
yourself out there. And note to self, if you ever want to do something that you're really like terrified of doing, ensure there's like, I don't know, it must have been, I'm not even going to do the maths, £300, £400 what if you cancelled.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like I mentioned, a lot of my clients have avoidance or procrastination. Is there anything that you do that helps you overcome avoidance or procrastination? And also, what do you procrastinate on? Is there a particular type of task?
So I'm probably the worst person to ask about this because I do procrastinate on everything. But I've learned that I work much better under pressure. So if I had a deadline of like a month for a client, I'd wait till the last week and do it. So yeah, I'm probably not the best person, but I also procrastinate a lot on small tasks, like things that take about 5 minutes. I just procrastinate. Like I've got a flea treatment for my cat, and I've had it for about 2 weeks in the kitchen, and it takes about a minute to do, but I just haven't done it. So I just procrastinate on like little things. But yeah, it's
I'm so curious, and I will share as well. So, what is it about like the flea treatment that makes you feel like, oh, I can't be asked to do this?
I don't know. I think Polly, my cat, I would have to like hold her and like it would take a lot of time, like effort to do it. So I just put it off. But
Mm.
it's like little stuff that take a bit more effort than just going to do it. Like I think I was telling you like last week, I had to print loads of stuff out, but I had to go and walk to my printer and turn it on and then wait for it to turn on and then print everything. So I just put it off and then just did it all at once. And I'm like, why? Like just do it.
It's so funny, isn't it, how it's like task specific? Because you can do
Yeah.
such a big, scary thing that you're terrified of, like literally go and speak in a room full of people, you literally, shitting yourself about. And then you're like, oh, I can't be asked to turn on the printer. I mean, can't be asked. And it's the same. I'm the same. Like I definitely have my types of things that I procrastinate on. So anything admin-y, any like forms that I have to fill in for some
Mm.
reason, like sending money to people, you always have to chase me, and it's nothing personal. It's just like I have to write down the thing and then
Yeah.
send it. And like the dog groomers, every time they invoice, I'm like, oh God. And if it just takes 20 seconds to do it there and then, but when you don't do it there and then, it lives in your mind for weeks. And yeah, that's the annoying thing.
Then
But
it
anyway,
also feels so good after you've done it.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, you do feel so proud, and you're like, oh, I don't know why it took so long. And I don't know if you learn, but sometimes you learn for some tasks not to do it again. Okay, and now I want to ask a bit about habits. So, are there any particular habits that you have developed that you think help you in terms of your business or other types of like personal growth?
I really like to journal. So I try and journal every day. I try and journal in the morning. I It just really helps me get everything out that is in my head so I can start the day kind of like fresh. And if I realize I needed to do something, I might then put in my to-do list to do later. And it just really, really helps like clear my head. And like if I'm feeling a little bit anxious, but I don't really know why, I might journal and figure out why and figure out in some cases, I might figure out kind of like what to do or how to help myself and stuff like that. So yeah, journaling really is a good habit for me. I love that.
Mm, I'm a massive journal fan as well. I don't know, it's like such a nice way to connect to yourself, I
Yeah,
think, too.
yeah, definitely.
And I often use it as a way to change my mood. So, like,
Mm.
I might start off by like writing things that I'm grateful for, or like, what do I want from the day, or how do I want to, whatever, just that extra intention, I think,
Mm.
is
Yeah,
really nice.
I think as well it's a like method of handwriting as well instead of like typing.
That's so true.
Yeah, because you type all day, every day. And then yeah.
Yeah, that is actually really true. And coming back to things we procrastinate on, often typing like messages and stuff to, friends. I'm like, okay, I can't be doing this again. Like some emails all day, typing. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. There is something about a
Yeah.
nice like pen and paper connection.
Definitely.
Hmm. Okay, so if you could invite anyone to speak at one of your creative dinners, alive or dead or fictional or otherwise, who would it be and why?
So I love to get guests that everyone can kind of relate to or get something out of. Like, I don't like them to be like industry specific guests, or not industry specific guests, but if it's just helping like one specific problem that only a few people have. So, for example, if I hired a designer to speak, everyone would be like, I'm not a designer, so I don't really care. But I would love Brené Brown. I think she's got a business, so like she can talk about business stuff, but she's also got like amazing like thoughts and advice and things like that. I think she'd be a really, really good guest.
She's a fab speaker as well, isn't
Yeah.
she?
Yeah, she'd be very engaging.
Yeah. I haven't actually read any of her books, but I know she's written a few, but I have seen her TED Talk. And again,
Yeah.
just that vulnerability and the stories that she brings in. Yeah,
Yeah.
she would be amazing.
She's good. I've read a few books, haven't read that many, but yeah, the talks and like TED Talks are really, really good.
Definitely learn a thing or two about public speaking from her. And
Oh, maybe if we get a public speaking coach, that would be a good
oh,
one.
yeah, I bet that's loads of people who would
Yeah.
struggle and really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then
That's
you get to benefit from it as well.
exactly.
You just need to forget, because when you answered the question, I just thought, oh, how lovely, like you're thinking about your customers and, reflecting back what we were talking about, the brand and how it's focusing all on the
Mm.
business and their customers, which is exactly what you did in that question. People won't really connect to designers. What you should do is just get whoever you want and just all the things that you're working on. So like, I don't know, yoga teacher, you're interested in that,
Yeah.
pet brand, interested in
So
that,
true. I
public
should.
speaking coach.
That is so true. I might just do that.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Anna. That is absolutely like so lovely to hear your story and how you have overcome that fear of public speaking and how just decisive you were. I take forever to do stuff. Once I have an idea, I'm like, procrastinate for ages. So that is an inspiration as well as you creating something that you actually didn't enjoy doing and then doing it.
Funny when you say it like that.
So, Anna, last thing, how would people contact you, see more of your work? If they were interested, where would they go?
You can go to my website, which is studioado.com, which is AYDO, or I'm very active on LinkedIn more than Instagram. So follow me on LinkedIn with Anna Douglas. That's my name.
I'll put the links in the show notes as
Thank you.
well. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, for your being, for your inspiration that you certainly give to me. And I know you would have given to everybody who has been listening or watching this.
Oh, thank you. This has been so fun.